with Emmanuel Asuquo. Emmanuel, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Nick. How are you?
Good. Yeah, you had a bit of trouble getting here. But now we're good.
We're happy we're here.
So let me start with the big question. Why are we so bad at looking after our money?
I think sometimes it's a bit harsh to say why we're so bad because we were never taught. There was food technology, there was design technology, there was all these classes to prepare us for life. Money is a life skill. It's something that we make financial decisions every day, whether it's to take the bus or train or Uber, like I've had to decide this morning, or whether it is to buy stuff for our kids or food to shop in Tesco or Sainsbury's or Marks and Spencer's. These are all financial decisions.
Yeah.
But we never had a lesson to teach us about
them. So let me take you back. How did you come to realise that you need to kind of get to grips with this?
It's funny because what actually happened for me is I grew up on a council estate in East London. And because my parents were born in Nigeria, so I was the first of my family to be born here in the UK. And they were always very strict on leaving the light on. You used to get in trouble if you left the light on, if you left the tap on. Because all of these costs was piling up. They had letters that they wouldn't open because they had enough problems already. And they didn't want to open the letter and have it.
Just avoid the whole thing. Yeah.
Exactly, just avoid it. And so, but I always remember growing up, I lived in a place called Limehouse. And when I used to look out the window, I used to look at the buildings in Canary Wharf and they had all the lights on. And I used to tell myself, wow, they must be rich. They can leave the lights on. They can go home at night and leave the lights on. Yeah. I get in trouble for leaving the light on in the kitchen. And so it made me have a desire to want to get over to those buildings. And I used to look at the Barclays building, HSBC building, the big Canary Wharf Tower, and I say, I want to be in one of those buildings. And then when I got over there, became a cashier in a bank eventually, and I just learned about money and how it works. And I was like, why did nobody teach me this before? And then as I started to help customers, I was helping myself because I'm learning as I'm helping people. And then I realized that my parents didn't know, my aunts didn't know, my friends didn't know. This was just something that was completely not taught to them, especially coming from another environment where if you want to buy a house, you buy the land and you build. There's no mortgage. These are things that are simple in this society, but if you came from another place, you wouldn't know about it, but no one ever taught you about it. So you had to learn from mistakes. And so it became something of my desire to want to teach people this stuff, but in a normal way. There's so much jargon. When I first started reading these books, I was like, is this algebra?
Yeah.
What am I learning? Like, there's so much jargon. It almost feels so complicated on purpose.
So is it complicated, or is it our fear of like being shown up because we should know it?
Yes, I think it's two. I think number one, there's I'm not good at maths. Personal finance and maths are not necessarily the same.
Right.
If you understand basic maths, you can get personal finance. Personal finance is more about mindset. It's more about the decisions that we make. I always tell people are like, what's the first step do I teach my clients on the road to financial freedom? And it's to love themselves.
Yes.
That's the first thing I teach them, is to love themselves. Because if you love yourself and you understand that you're already valuable, then you won't need to buy that new car, that new house, those new trainers. And so you're going to have more money for the things that are actually important. For a lot of us, we don't love ourselves, so we buy things to make us feel better.
Yeah.
And so that's a never-ending cycle of our money going out. And if we don't have enough coming in, which cost of living crisis we've all been through, that's why a lot of people are feeling a pinch that they've never felt before.
And this fascinates me. I was going to ask about cost of living. How do you get to it? Then where do we go from here? I suppose that's really the question. Is like, because the innate response to all of us is there's nothing I can do because it's systemic and it's the world problems. How do you gain back control not without anything? How do you gain back control?
I love it. And what you just said is so important. How do you gain back control? And I always tell people, when you start a job, you have an induction, right? They tell you, this is where you're going to sit. This is your name badge. This is your computer. These are where the toilets are. Here's where you can get your water and all that. You have a plan for. Have you ever had an induction for your money?
No.
Have you ever told your money, when you come in, these are the accounts you're going to go to pay bills. This is the money that's going to be for spending. This is how we're going to save and invest for our future. You've never had an induction for your money. So when your money comes in, it goes all over the place. But there are set structures and principles that you can put in place to do what you said, gain back control. And that's what I try and teach people. And when you get that control, you're now empowered. And there's an empowerment in actually not fearing the end of the month or fearing that, as we get closer to the end of the month, I'm going to run out of money. because you've got a plan and you've prepared yourself. And if you do have a deficit, if I know that actually to live the lifestyle I want to live, I need an extra two, three, £400 a month. Now I can go out and get it. But if I never have the conversation of how much do I need for the lifestyle I want to live, I'm always going to end up being in minus, and that's how we end up in debt. And those problems we bring to work, and that's one of the things why it's so important. Because if I'm worrying about how I'm going to pay my bills, and even if you give me, as an employee, you give me a promotion, if I don't know how to use this money or manage this money, I'm going to get it, it's going to be spent wrong, and then I'm going to be still worrying about it, which is going to take away from my focus from what I should be doing at work and doing the other things I should be doing in life.
So do you get frustrated by the business over the fact that they don't see that they should be doing this for them? Or do you get frustrated by the individuals over the fact they're not pushing the businesses?
I think both. I think there is an individual responsibility, because at the end of the day, we have so much information around us. And so people will say, well, how do I know where to look for? But there are loads, not just myself, there are loads of people on social media talking about money and finance and ways, both here in the UK and all across the world. So if you are intentional about developing your personal finance knowledge, there's information out there, number one. But I think number two also, as a workplace, I feel like we are paying people. You are literally giving people money every single month.
Yeah.
You would think that it would be responsible to say, well, I'm giving these people money. They've never had financial education. I wonder if we add some value to them and teach them about these are ways that you should use it. Does anyone ever explain your payslip? I do this with Accenture, for example. We look after young people when they come in they do get a lot of apprentices, and we teach them what their payslip looks like, what they should do with their first. Because if I'm a young person, this is my first job, I'm getting earning 25, 30 grand. It sounds like the most amount of money I've ever heard in my life. All of a sudden, you're thinking BMW, you're thinking holidays. You're not thinking, how do I be responsible? You're not thinking, oh, should I start saving for this house or saving for retirement? Then you want to start taking pension out. I'm thinking, well, I'm 22, 23. What do I care about retirement? I care about today. And so it's really important to teach these skills because we all know the earlier you start, the better benefit to you in the end. But if no one tells you when you start, most of the time people don't realize till they're around 40 that actually I need to start doing something for my retirement. And by then, it means you have to put even more. And by then you have a family that you might have to look after. It's not just about you. So while you're young and your costs are low, these are the times to set up the right systems in place to help you.
So we talked about business, we talked about the individual. I'll have one last question at the end, but just one question before that. How responsible should the government, should the politicians be, and how good are they, in your opinion, at kind of helping us through this?
I think there's a lot of things out there. The government understand it. I think, Rishi Sunak, before he left, he talked about people increasing kids staying in longer to do maths and have maths lessons. I don't think maths is necessarily. If I hated maths since I was 16, making me do it too late.
It's not going to
It's not going to. I get the intention, I get the mindset that you're thinking about, and the fact that there are a lot of people who fear maths or don't feel like they're comfortable. But what's really important is that actually I need to be prepared for where I'm going to. So we know that once you finish school, the school education system, you either go into a job, you have to get an apprenticeship from 16, apprenticeship, or you're going to higher education. So if you know you're going to higher education, where you're going to now get student loans, student finance, the government should be feeling that we need to prepare people before we give them all this debt. And so it's really important. These are life skills that we're talking about. So the government needs to do more. And I think there are some things that they're thinking about. But one of the issues is that teachers, I speak to a lot of teachers, and the reason why I go around schools and universities and all across the country is that a lot of teachers themselves don't feel like they're good with their money. So they don't feel comfortable to teach something that they struggle with themselves. And so it's really important that we understand this is a society problem. It doesn't matter how clever you are. You can be a scientist or you can be an astronaut. That doesn't mean you're going to be good at managing your money. That is a separate skill on its own.
So I said one question, but two. Okay. So do you look at it as a positive challenge for society as a whole? Or does it frustrate you and you're like, we're never going to get there?
It's definitely, I'm a positive person. Okay. So I definitely feel like it's a great opportunity. If people are living their lives now and without this knowledge, I feel like how much better your life will be if you get access to it. If you actually learn the principles of money, how the system works, and how to make money work for you. Because we go to work and we get money. and we work hard for our money,
Mm.
but we've never been taught how to make money work hard for us. And so that's and that's why I feel like it's so empowering, and I see the positive of it, because I've helped thousands of people since I've been doing this, and I see that their lives are different. And actually, it's not just a me thing, because once they learn it, they then pass it to their family members, which is the aim, and that's how we grow a better society. So I feel it's a positive challenge.
So I've got my last question. In the world of quick wins and easy ways out,
Yeah.
give me the one bit of advice for anyone. If you had 10 seconds with someone, and they could give me one bit of advice.
I think, like I said, number one is to love yourself.
Mm.
Number two, have a plan for your money. Number two, dream big. Like, have a vision for yourself beyond your current situation. Because with a cost of living crisis, you might just be sitting there thinking, I can't survive today. But where are you going to? And what can we put in place to get you to get there?
Okay. Fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for your time. Well done, Cheers.